don't think he's even earned the right to claim the title as most hated player. I don't think you've done enough for me. I never think about Embiid when I wake up.
I do think that there's some truth to that. I don't know that he's the most hated guy.
Yeah.
I don't know that a lot of people, like hate him. I mean, the Sixers, to be honest, they haven't been good enough in the playoffs to like really develop that deep, sort of hatred or disgust for him.
At all.
But the interesting thing, when he first came in the league and started playing, he had like a really fun personality.
They took it away from him.
He was almost goofy, and it's really been stripped away. Yeah, but he's just
way more.
He's just in a much darker place, and it's when I look at it, I feel bad that it's that way.
Yeah.
And it's funny. You look at, to me, Anthony Edwards. You kind of hope, as he kind of got rolling this year, I kind of was like, I thought about Embiid. I'm like, I don't want that for him. I don't want him to be what he is right now, and we go 3-4 years down the line, and he's talking about being the most hated guy or this or that. You just don't want that.
So my guy Embiid, he's been making a lot of different comments, but the one thing about it is coming from this long interview. It's coming from this long interview, so it's like he's saying a lot of things, saying that LeBron is really old. All these guys are really old, so don't expect. I hated that comment. Don't expect. We're expecting. What did he say? We're expecting a lot from an older group, or whatever. These other countries are just as good as our players, because he's not the same. Then he's talking about I'll average 50 if I didn't get double teamed and triple teamed every play.
Oh, would you?
I didn't like that one. He probably would, but just why say it?
I don't believe him.
He was averaging 35 for half the year, getting double teamed or whatever. So.
Yeah. And then this one, he's saying he's the most hated player. And the other one that I actually agree with is the teammates thing. He's saying about Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum has a super team, and that he hasn't had the best teams, and that's the reason why he hasn't had a lot of success: the injuries and the lack of teammates.
I don't think anything he said is going to alleviate him being the most hated player. None of
it's going to add to that.
While there may be truth in each thing he said, saying it doesn't help him.
Right.
That's kind of would be my take.
I don't think he's even earned the right to claim the title as most hated player. I don't think you've done enough for me. I never think about Embiid when I wake up.
I do think that there's some truth to that. I don't know that he's the most hated guy.
Yeah.
I don't know that a lot of people, like hate him. I mean, the Sixers, to be honest, they haven't been good enough in the playoffs to like really develop that deep, sort of hatred or disgust for him.
At all.
But the interesting thing, when he first came in the league and started playing, he had like a really fun personality.
They took it away
from him. He was
him.
almost goofy, and it's really been stripped away. Yeah, but he's just
way more.
He's just in a much darker place, and it's when I look at it, I feel bad that it's that way.
Yeah.
And it's funny. You look at, to me, Anthony Edwards. You kind of hope, as he kind of got rolling this year, I kind of was like, I thought about Embiid. I'm like, I don't want that for him. I don't want him to be what he is right now, and we go 3-4 years down the line, and he's talking about being the most hated guy or this or that. You just don't want that.
Yeah.
But I in American sports, and probably in any sport, there is a trajectory to the career that when you're on the rise and you're the new shiny toy, everybody loves you. Yeah. And then when you're actually in the prime of your career, you're kind of hated. You're kind of like not loved. You're respected, you're feared, but you're not loved. And then when it looks like the end's coming again, usually the flowers come back out.
You might not be respected either.
When?
You might not be respected either.
When?
When that honeymoon burns out, like you have to earn the respect.
What are we talking about?
Like I was speaking on the point that you were making.
About Anthony Edwards.
Yeah, once you're no longer the new guy and everyone is loving you and throwing flowers at your feet,
that's what I said. Is in the middle, you're not loved. It turns and becomes something else. You're feared, you're respected as an opponent, as whatever, but you're not loved. And it's just that's the way that it is. My guy Mbappe suffered that in the Euro, because there's a 16-year-old guy from Spain that was like the darling of the tournament, and Mbappe's not the young sensation anymore. He's the guy that's just supposed to deliver. And he didn't have the greatest tournament. So there's a lot of, things thrown at him about that. And everybody thinks the 16-year-old guy is the greatest thing to come along. And they're already, he's the next greatest player in the world.
Yeah.
We'll see. You're 16. Let your balls drop.
Yeah. But what I know what he wants. He wants people to shift the conversation to what he feels like are legitimate reasons and not excuses, right? So when people think Embiid, they think, he's never been out of the second round.
Career.
Yeah, in terms of his career.
Okay.
He's never been out of the second round. He's a loser. He's this. He always gets hurt. He wants that conversation to shift to, well, they did draft Ben Simmons and Markel Fultz in back-to-back years. They did have, bad coaching, bad coaches. They made bad trades. They gave a max contract to Tobias Harris. They let
Jimmy go.
They let Jimmy go in favor of Tobias.
Right.
You know what I mean? He wants people to know, he wants that conversation to shift to that versus him not getting the job done because he's not good enough.
But the problem is, in the reality of sports, that's the conversation's never going to go.
No,
there.
that's just the reality.
Like intense fans, people that know, people that follow, you'll know that. But the casual fan, the person that responds to just general sports stuff, they're never going to care. There's the old quote of history is written by the victor, and it's true. If he wins a title, the narrative changes.
Yeah.
Even if he were to leverage his way out of Philadelphia, go somewhere else, and have that next tier of success, then then his story gets told.
Yeah.
But for him to kind of just use this offseason window and kind of talk it up, it's really not effective, and that's why it's almost unfortunate that he says these things even though they're truth.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear this from him.
Yeah.
I don't ever want to hear this from him. You haven't.
I don't blame you for it.
As a Magic fan, I still hate Kobe more than I hate this guy. You know why? Because we would have had a ring if it weren't for Kobe. And that hate is parallel to the respect I have for Kobe. Because he came and he deboed us and he sat us down and we still ain't got a ring yet. I never wake up out of my sleep thinking about, damn, we still got to play Philly. Nah, man. I look forward to playing Philly. Shout out, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to you. It's not hate. You don't matter in my grand scheme of things. I hate Boston.
Don't move the needle.
Yeah, I hate Boston.
What's with the Boston hatred? Where does that originate?
Have you seen Boston?
Just because they're the best team.
Yeah, just look at them. I hate
No,
them.
just currently.
I just hate Boston. I hate the franchise. I hate the city. I hate the weather.
Well, that's what I'm just saying. Is it based on old Magic series?
Yeah,
or?
as a Magic fan, the lift it takes to get out of the East, I'm gonna have to get past Boston. Sometimes I get past Boston. Sometimes I don't. And then I still got to worry about the West. So my life just sucks in general. But you are still in my way constantly.
Yeah. So, why are you a Magic fan?
I just like pain.
You could just go to an S&M dungeon and get the same thing.
It don't hit the same.
Believe me, it will.
I was here for that run. I was here when the Lakers were coming to town and we were taken seriously and we were still young in terms of franchise age. We were still young and you had to you got to deal with us. We going up against Kobe. If we pull this off, if my boy hits that shot, you got to take us serious. And then we missed.
Yeah.
And so now y'all still talk down on us, but it's y'all still got to see us. Paulo here now.
I guess the problem is the Magic have just largely been irrelevant for 15 years. So I don't really it's hard to be
irrelevant, but you still got to deal with us.
Who's got to deal with you? The Cavs? I mean, come on.
Yes, the Cavs got to deal with us. What do you mean?
The Cavs beat you.
Barely.
And nobody
because we couldn't hit a three.
And nobody's got to deal with
if we could knock down some threes, the Cavs would not have survived us.
Just the Magic.
The guy that didn't
what are you?
The Magic.
You sound like a Heat fan right now. Who are you?
Nah, I don't care about.
He's just a fan of basketball.
He's just a fan of basketball.
No, I mean, and this is why I say that. I don't see any reason in being the fan of an irrelevant team. I mean, I watch sports and I'm drawn to okay, what's compelling?
Yeah.
Who's a fascinating player to watch? What's a team that really seems to have their shit together and they're worth watching? I'm not going to sit there and root for a team that sucks. That's a waste of my time and energy.
But why do they suck? Is the question.
There's many reasons. Under-talented, bad front office, poor coaching. There's a myriad of reasons teams
immaturity. I think
there's a collective.
Immaturity is something you can fix. When you're looking at a franchise,
no.
When you're looking at a franchise, hear me out. No, come with me. Come on a journey with me. If you look at a franchise like Philly,
thank you.
If you look at a franchise like Philly, who's supposed to be a more mature franchise, is supposed to represent the sport better than they do, I would never root for Philly. But Magic is still young enough to where if you get your ducks in order, you can still build a dynasty during our lifetime.
You gotta have
you
gotta have the ducks, or you don't have anything. And it's not about maturity. It's not wise.
About maturity.
No, it's not at all. You have the dudes and you win. Like, that's it. Like, you either have the talent to win or you don't.
I feel like, all right.
Yeah, of course I don't agree with that. I'm a part of fandom. I have my teams, and I root for them even in the worst times.
I'm never the fan to try and convince you to come join us. All I'm saying is when we do cross that hump, like, remember this little conversation. We don't let you in the section in the club. Like, no.
I'm glad you had one good year in 2 decades.
Yeah. And I enjoyed that year. We were lit.
That's good, man. That's good.
We were lit.
All right, let's
fuck Boston. Man.
Did you guys see what Jalen Brunson did? He took $113 million less.
$113 million less?
Yeah.
I didn't realize it's that much.
$113 million less over the course of the deal. All right, and signed the extension with the Knicks. Now, Bridges is expected to do something similar as far as on his next deal, taking less money. You think that's going to become a trend? They're doing that, so of course they can add additional pieces to that team.
Those are guys that are
in the NBA. That's not really. They don't really do that.
No. I'm saying, like, what New York has with the 4 Villanova guys is different.
Okay,
it's different. Those guys are like brothers. Like, they've been around each other for years.
Yeah.
And I just think that they treat that differently than most other people do. It's an outlier. Now, the thing is, can they achieve a level of success that makes other people feel like this is what we have to do to win at this level? I don't know. You know, that'll be the question. But I think, I mean, to me, they're an outlier. What they're doing and why they're doing it, I think they're doing it because they're brothers.
Yeah.
You know, it's just different. We can't equate it the same. You know, but there is, like, when you talk about, like, the get the bag stuff, this is an example of why I'm on the other side of that. It's like, these guys, nobody's broke. Everybody's very good.
Yeah.
Like, you know, okay, I threw $130 million off the table.
Yeah.
But I'm still fine.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to be at the soup kitchen. You know, I'm not going to be bumping Delonte West out of the panhandler line and all that stuff. So you're good. Like, you know, and it's just like, what do you want out of your life?
Right.
You know, does it matter that you make, you know, whatever, $700 million in contracts over your 15-year career, or like 3 and a really good run with my boys?
I think that willingness to be selfless for a moment is this, like, that's a key trait of greatness.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah.
Like, I think there are dudes that wouldn't do that would take the bag, and it's not that I'm mad at you for taking the bag. It's just you just don't. The willingness to build something from the ground up.
Yeah. Part of what I look at in this is, you know, I love to play basketball. I love the experience of it, and like, there are good days of basketball and there's bad days of basketball.
Right.
And if you're in a situation where you're going to get the bag, but it means that you're going to be on a team that's going to struggle to win 45 games, and you're going to play with people that aren't very good, like, that's the reality of your life for 82 games plus playoffs.
Yeah,
that there's a cost to that that's not direct dollars. But if you can take a little less and still have generational wealth, and I get to be on a team where we win the majority of our games and we're in the mix, and I get to play with people I respect and care about and love, that's different.
Yeah.
You know, I would take that any day personally over just, hey, I need the next highest deal in the league.
Yeah.
No, nothing else matters.
Now, of course, Carmelo, former Knick, he's like, yeah, I'm not doing it.
Of course not. That's why your ass is home with no titles.
Salute.
Yeah. You didn't. Here's the thing, Mel. You didn't even need to tell us. We already knew.
I appreciate the honesty.
I don't. It's useless.
And again, Carmelo has his place in history. Like, he gets a certain level of respect in certain corners, and that should never be taken away from him. But then when we're talking about the greats of the greats of the greats, you gotta.
He's not in that conversation.
Yeah, stay in your corner. Everyone just play their role, and we good.
He's eating at the kids' table on Thanksgiving.
See.
Have another Jello, Mel.
Hey, have another Jello.
Shout out to Mel.
Nah, it is what, I mean, you define what you are like that. I mean, the guy that I have in my head as we're having this conversation is Bradley Beal.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
another Celtic.
He knew Washington was going to be awful. But he
took the money.
Anyway.
And then when he finally gets traded to a team that maybe has a chance, he's not healthy.
Nah,
he's
he's
not
terrible.
the same player that he was. So it's all.
But at least he
wasted.
got the bag.
You know what I thought you said? I thought you said Bradley Avery. Or
Avery Bradley.
Yeah. You said that name.
Yeah.
Fucking, you see, the Celtics haunt my dreams. You see what I'm saying? That's why. That's where the hatred comes from.
You're a little too haunted by the Celtics.
That's where the hatred. That's where the